Manchester United won against Everton at home. It was a clean sheet result, a little bit better than we had hoped for. The game could have been better, but the result is what matters. We got 10 more games to look forward to, guys, because you know what? This was match week 28, and the Manchester United faithful are marching on. Can we get the 24 points desired to get us to 70 plus points, guys? Can we do it? Well, we're going to explore some of this. We're going to discuss and talk slightly about it, what's going to happen, Manchester United this week that's coming ahead, as well as what happened this weekend on Saturday as we destroyed Everton 2-0. Guys, your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. It's your boy, MarkN, MUFC fan, and I got a few panel members coming in tonight. They're not all arrived yet, but they should be here shortly. Hope you guys are going to give me your comments. Let me know what you were thinking about the game. And if you're new, smash the likes and subscribe. Share it around on your Twitter and your Twitch because I'm going to be there soon. Big up to all of you joining me, and let's get into the show, guys. Big up again to all those joining me. Big up to you, Stephanie G. Hope you're having a great evening. It's certainly been a good weekend for me. Manchester United won, so I'm all happy. It's good days. Big up to you, GB. Yeah, you know, brother, what's it? I'm on the Kool-Aid. No, I was drinking that Kool-Aid yesterday. Can't drink that Kool-Aid today. Today I'm on the coffee. But you know what it is. It's going to be fun either way. Big up to you. Hope you're having a good day. Hope you enjoyed your weekend as well. I know Manchester United win, so as a fan, you probably should be happy as I am. You know, it was not an amazing performance, guys, but you know what? We did the job. We got the job done. You know, what's happening? What's really going on? You know what I mean? What are we doing? What are we saying? Are we disappointed? Are we happy? You know, how do we feel about going into the weekend? Is it going to be positive for Manchester United? You know, what can we say? For me, I'm certainly positive going into the next 10 games because if I look at the table, which I will bring to you guys in a little bit, you know, it looks kind of good, you know, taking the games one game at a time. Brentford is next, but it's to be postponed, I believe, as we face Liverpool this weekend in the FA Cup. We will discuss that in the match preview on Thursday, but guys, there's also going to be a panel debate on Tuesday where we're going to talk about how the progress is made, what is possibly going to happen, because as you know, after we face Liverpool, there's going to be a 2 weeks break for internationals, and we're going to have some players coming back from injury. You know what I mean? It's going to be great. It's going to be that time where Manchester United seems to me that it's going to be one of those things where we can possibly bring our season back from the brink. You know, I'm looking forward to Manchester United doing well, and I'm going to be one of those fans that stay in the camp that, you know, the manager deserves more time. You know, he's had 1.5 seasons so far, 10 games left of his second season. I'm going to say that, you know what, it's not always been great, but it will get better because at the same time, we are not too far off the top four, and it's certainly an opportunity that's awaiting us, guys. What are your thoughts? Let me know what you are thinking. How do you feel about Erik ten Hag? How do you feel about the performances? Big up to you, Craig Warby. How you doing, man? Are you good? I know you had a busy weekend. It's one of those things, bro. But, you know, if you got time, maybe you could come in and let me know how you feel. Maybe you're crazy, but I'd rest the robot against Liverpool. You know, GB, you're thinking like me. You know, the more important game is the league. And you know what? If we do get the FA Cup win, it's cool. But I'm thinking rest the robot, give him another week off, and let him come back strong after internationals. And keep him away from Denmark. Don't let him go away on international duty. He has to stay home and rest. No game time. You know what I mean? All the game time he will get in intense training before the match day. But, you know, we sit sixth in the table. We're on 47 points. We're 6 points behind Tottenham Hotspurs and 8 points behind Aston Villa. 8 points behind Aston Villa. Guys, it's not that far off when you look at how the table is shaping up. you know what I mean? I'm going to bring you the information as we are also looking at bringing in more to the back room as you hear about Dougie Freeman possibly coming in as, recruitment officer. Guys, let's hear Eric Ten Hag, speak his mind about a little clip about Garnacho and what he thought about the game.
I love it to work with Garnacho, but also many other players in the squad to challenge them. And he is a player, he needs a challenge. And he likes a challenge. And he's very brave, he's very confident. And our job is to push him to higher levels. But of course, he is doing this. He has a high potential, and now we have to put to get the potential out. And therefore, you have to work day by day. And when you are young, you don't know. You don't know what it is to play in a high competitive league and to perform every third day. You don't know. And you need that experience. And you don't know that you have to perform on every training session if you want to get better, because there are so many areas for them to improve their game. And football is a very complicated sport, as we all know, and you need a lot of skills to be the best.
Guys, that was Eric Ten Hag talking about the youngster Garnacho after his stellar performance on Saturday. I would have to say it's one of his best performances in the league for me this season. And I'm not saying this because I'm trying to be the manager supportive. I'm just saying this because it showed a lot of maturity in his game. Like earlier in the season, we were celebrating his wonder goals, like the bicycle kick he scored against that same team in the first fixture. This is our sixth league double this season, guys. Just letting you guys know, keeping you informed. You know what I mean? I'm thinking we're probably going to end the season on at least 12 to 14 league doubles, guys, because, we have 8 possible games we can win. And if we win those games, that are 8 more league doubles that we have completed this season. Guys, and, I think the manager is 100% correct on Garnacho. He's young, very talented, raw, has a lot of ability, and is willing to learn. He works very hard. And you know what, guys? I've been looking at Garnacho's play over the last couple of weeks, and I've been concerned because sometimes he get in the situation and he doesn't pass the ball, or sometimes he gets into the situation and he doesn't make the right decision. But he's made almost every decision right on Saturday. And that's a growth. You know what I mean? That's positive because he's doing well. And that shows that he's learning and he's willing and he's open and he's doing the hard work in training. And it's showing now in the business end of the season. It's culminating. All his efforts over the course of this season are culminating into productivity, guys. And as the manager is heaping the praise on them, I'm heaping the praise on him as well. And I'm also thinking long term because you know what? It would be nice to see him get some rest. Maybe in the next few fixtures, maybe we can start Anthony, give Garnacho a break, let him come on in the second half against Liverpool. Let's see how the game goes. Aston Villa, including today, we will lose 5 games before the season ends. Their wheels are coming off. GB, 100% agree with you, my bro. Because if you know, you know. And when you look at the next 4 games incoming, there's going to be a lot of tough fixtures. And I'm going to just bring this to the stage so you guys could see what we're talking about. You know what I mean? Because it's one of those things. Yeah, nah, I was just making a joke there, GB, with the Scylla. you know. But like, look at it like this, guys. When you look at look at the league table right now. We sit on 47 points in sixth, comfortably so. I'll be saying we are 4 points ahead. West Ham, who suffered another draw, setback, drop in points, and they are also 1 point ahead of Brighton. You know what I mean? Chelsea is sitting on 10 points adrift in 11, guys. It's not been a good season, and they're rounding up 4 points short of Newcastle, who sit in 10th. Guys, it's not looking good for those guys. But you know what, guys? It's looking up for Manchester United. And while I'm saying that, I'm going to bring the information to you right now because, it's one of those things I just wanted to talk about. And we're going to examine the matches of the closest rivals. And let's go to Aston Villa and let's see what Aston Villa's next 5 games are. Guys, look at it. They lost 4-0 to Tottenham today. Crazy, crazy stuff. Even got a red card to John McGinn. So you know what? He's missing the next 2 games. And it's one of those things where what's going to happen? No one knows. They face Aston Villa in the Europa League. So let's forget about that. You know, West Ham is their next fixture on Sunday because both teams are out of the FA Cup. So they will be playing while other teams are playing in the FA Cup. Do you think Aston Villa is going to get away victory at West Ham? Hardly likely. They haven't done that in like 3 or 4 seasons running now. They usually lose those games. And like Craig Warby is saying, every game is a cup final for us. And you know what? United is a very oil cup team if you look back on the history of things. And I don't know if you guys can see. Let me just zoom this up a little bigger so you guys could get a better view. Right there. And, you know, if you look at Aston Villa's next fixtures, guys, let me make this a little bigger so you can see it. You know what I mean? Maybe like this. Yeah. So, guys, this is Aston Villa's next fixture list. Next 5 games. Aston Villa has West Ham, which they are away. They are at home to Wolves. They are away at Man City. They are at home to Brentford. They are away at Arsenal. And they are home to Bournemouth. It's quite a tricky fixture list, guys, if you ask me. And I don't know what you guys are talking about, but like GB is saying, you're just stealing the words out of my mouth. My bro, McGinn is a huge loss for them in the next 3 games, guys. And it's one of those things where it's going to be difficult, very difficult for them, you know what I mean, to continue going. And if you look at these perspective, guys, this is just to show you that, you know, it's possible that Aston Villa in the next 5 games can possibly drop more than 3 points. If you look at the game against West Ham, City, and Arsenal, those are fixtures where they have not tend to want to win those games, and they are away in every one of those fixtures. What if they drop 9 points? If you look at the table, they're not too far ahead of Manchester United. It's very possible that they can also ended up being caught by the end of the Arsenal game by Manchester United, who might just see themselves find a situation where we're in and amongst the top 4 again, guys, if you look at the points, because currently they're 8 points ahead of us. And if they drop 9 points and we gain 9 points, that takes us to a point ahead of them. Guys, what are your thoughts in the comments? Let me know what you are thinking. I'm expecting my buddy Drex and the guys to come in shortly. I'm not too sure how come Drex is not here as yet. Where is he? Let me hit him up. Big up to you. Big up to you, Craig. Especially harder for Villa if they progress against Ajax. Emery will want to win the Europa League. 100%. Craig, that's a great point that you're making. Because in my opinion, you know, it's something where they're gonna want to win the Europa League. And when you think about that, they're gonna be distracted slightly. You never know, they might not be able to complete the task and get themselves in to top 4. You know what I mean? So when you look at these fixtures, guys, it kind of makes it seem like it's not so bad for Manchester United going forward in the next few games. And I'm just going to bring it back one more time. Look at these fixtures, you know, and these are the key fixtures here. By the 13th of April, Aston Villa could be in 6th. And that's a realistic situation. And that's if they don't drop even more points by losing points to Wolves or Brentford en route to Bournemouth, guys. You know, let's examine the rest of the pack ahead of us, guys, as I bring to you information on, let's go with Tottenham Hotspurs. We're chasing them next. They are the ones closest to us. And they just defeated Aston Villa 4-0. Now, a lot of guys might be saying, you know, it's going to be a tough fixture for Manchester United, but we do not play Tottenham. So whatever they do, you know, it really would benefit us, but what we do will always affect them. And if you look at their next few fixtures, they have on Saturday next Fulham away. And it's a tricky fixture because the Fulham lads have tend to be good at home this season. They're not really You know, they're not in fine form right now, but they're definitely doing well. Guys, what are your thoughts? Let me know. They also face Luton at home. They have West Ham away. They also have Nottingham Forest. Then they go through a week, 3 weeks or 4 weeks of what I call the finish. And when I mean the finish means that they're possibly going to drop all of their 12 points in those 4 games. And these games, bro, I highlight to all of you. Newcastle away, Tottenham, or they have Man City at home, Arsenal at home, and Liverpool away. And in those 4 games, guys, it could be critical because if you see the timeline, it takes them up until the first week of May. And in that first week of May, guys, you know what that means? That means they could be possibly in 7th. They could even lose top 4 and finish below top 6 if they drop 12 points in those 4 games. How does that look for United? Guys, we are 6 points behind them. And if they drop 12 and we gain 12, we will be 6 points ahead of them. It's pretty difficult to KG, to gauge the performance of this season. You know what I mean? And Tesh is coming in. I'd like to hear Tesh's opinion on these fixtures because, the Tottenham running is looking bleak in the last 4 games. It's 4 games of hell for them in that month. And those fixtures, it's going to be tough for them. You could, you know, and let's just let me just go through one more of the teams that we're chasing, and then let's see what's going on. I'm going to bring Tex to the stage so he can answer some questions, and let's see what's going on. Arsenal, let's go with the fan favorites right now. Arsenal Football Club. Let's see who Arsenal is facing in the next few games. Tesh, are you there, buddy? What's going on? Are you good?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, bro, I can hear you very good. Loud and clear.
Good. That's good. That's good. That's good. So I see you're probably going through the permutations and combinations, right, to probably see where the league table ends at the end of the season, or are you looking at a chance for how United get a chance to get into a top 4?
Well, yeah, I'm just trying to bring some lights to the fact that it does look a little bit difficult for United, but if you look at it from a fixture by fixture basis,
Yeah.
each one of the teams ahead of us are facing a much tougher next 5 to 6 games than us. And if you look at I was just looking at the Tottenham fixture list, and in the last 4 games, and I mean the 3rd of April, the 9th of April, the 13th of April, no, the 21st of April, and on the last week, the first week in March, Tottenham, they face Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City. You know what I mean? So, and those are all games away where they could be possibly dropping 12 points.
Honestly, my concern is more is with United. Can we capitalize?
Well, that's the thing I was going to get to last, because at the same time, I look at United and I say to myself, it's pretty, we have a difficult running in the next maybe 2 or 3 games, because we're going to be facing Liverpool next in the FA Cup, and then we're gonna face I think is Sheffield, and then we're gonna face Liverpool again.
Mm.
And I think that's the toughest part of our running until we get to the last 2 games, because in the last 2 games we face Arsenal and then Brighton on the last day. So when I look at it from now, if I subtract those 2 games, the game against Liverpool and the game against Arsenal, and I say let's minus those 6 points for now, right? We have a possible 24. I'm saying the toughest fixture after that is probably maybe Chelsea or Brighton. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe let's knock off another 3 points and say we get a draw against Chelsea and a draw against Brighton. That's still 21 points.
21 points, and we're currently seated at how many points now we are on? Is it
47? So we'll be on 68 points.
8
And
points?
now, hmm?
68 points is good though. It's good to get
I
us
mean,
there.
68 points is good, but for some people, it will be 7 points less than we had last season, because we had last season 72 or 75.
But I don't know. To me, I think everyone, in terms of last season, we should be a bit realistic. Last season, we had majority of our players fit. This season is a bit what they call the bit. not the case. So I think everyone understands. Like I think we might not be able to. We will never. We'll meet them last season. What they call them standard. It was 68 points to me. It's pretty good in terms of United. Right? Honestly, right, I believe if the boys are up for it, and mainly two players, Rashford and Bruno, if they are up for it, right,
Mm.
I believe we can actually get top four. My only concern is will they be up for it? I feel like this unity might come in later, like we saw during the era of Ragnick and Oli, where probably everyone just gave up. And in that, we threw the season away. That's my only fear. That's why when everyone asks me what do I think, I just say we can't make it because I'm just skeptical, and that still remains in my head that the boys can blow it at them last minute.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying no to that. I think it's going to be very difficult. I think it's going to be a little bit difficult, but it's like one of my things where I look at the perspective where it's very possible that, Manchester United could be in a situation where some of the players that do down tools. But if you look at it from the perspective where we're going to have Lissandro Martinez possibly back, Hoyland is going to be back, you know what I mean? Wan-Bissaka is going to be back. You're going to have a Mason Mount coming back. You know
True?
what I mean? Even a Terrell Malacia should be coming back right around the international break. So I think this squad is gonna with Aaron Wan-Bissaka fit. All left back issues are not no longer an issue. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because now Aaron Wan-Bissaka slots in at right back, Diego Dallo slots in off the left, and we also have seen moments where Aaron and 2 games this season where Aaron Wan-Bissaka played in the left back role and he was pretty decent. So you never know. You know what I mean? Maybe one game Bissaka takes the left, the other game Dallo plays the left, and that might have to do until Shaw is back fully fit. You know what I'm saying? But it definitely improves our defensive side. And if you look at the prospect of Hoyland coming into the attack, it definitely gives us an opportunity to score more goals. Big up to you, Luan. How are you doing? Haven't seen you all weekend. Heard you performed really well in the predictor this weekend. Congratulations, congratulations.
No,
You know?
I hear you. I agree with you. I agree with you there because if we get those players back, right? If you
Mm-hmm.
have the bulk of the players that want to play for the manager,
Mm-hmm.
then you see probably it probably overshadows those that probably wouldn't probably that want to just down tool stuff. And when is Martinez coming back? Do you know?
Martinez should be back at the international break or thereabouts. It was 6 weeks from when he got his injury in the first week of January, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
He got his injury. So 6 weeks from there takes us to the first week in March, So it's one of those things. Really, Luan, you didn't do too well? Sorry to hear that. I thought you actually did. I actually thought you got a lot of predictions right, you know but maybe I was mistaken with yours and maybe Poppy. I think Poppy got the Man City game spot on. He had a 1-1 draw, so hats off to him. Drex, are you in the background, bro? You ready to come in? Big up to you, my bro. I know I was just crashing your show earlier, so welcome to mine. You know what I mean? I was just talking to everyone about. I'm sure you heard. I was talking to them about the running. The most important. I was focused on from the next game week and the next 5 games up until the first week in May, right? Because the
Mm-hmm.
month of
Yeah.
April, and in this
Yeah.
month of April, as you can see, all the teams Man City are facing. Let me just switch this around so we gets a little bit more clearer view. And as you can see, Man City is facing Tottenham on the 20th of April. They're
Yeah.
facing Aston Villa on the 3rd, as well as well, they're gonna face Arsenal next weekend. It's going to
Mm-hmm.
be a tough one for Arsenal. But if you look at those fixtures, right, they also face Brighton, which means it's not so bad. It's not going to be such a good day for them. They might possibly get a draw against Brighton, but at the same time, I expect them to clobber Tottenham and beat Villa, which means both teams will be dropping 3 points in this match week, as well as the match week where they will be facing Arsenal. So that's 6 points. So I'm already deducting 6 points from their progress in
From
the month
you say
of
Villa or you say Tottenham?
Villa and Tottenham.
For Tottenham, I still feel like they can. if they still got they still got Arsenal to play. So I feel like for Tottenham, they might get a point at Arsenal or might even win that game.
I mean, if they get I would be happy if they get a point at Arsenal. To be fair, because if you look at the Tottenham schedule, it's pretty tough, Drex. Let me bring it in right here. Like if you look at it right now from this perspective, right now, they have Fulham next because they don't have FA Cup. They got Fulham next. They
Ooh,
got
they have Newcastle, Tottenham, they have Newcastle, Arsenal, and Liverpool. Oh
yeah,
my
all in one go.
days.
Newcastle, City, Liverpool, and Arsenal.
Oh
4
my
games,
days.
1 week
For
apart each week for 4 weeks.
that's it. No, okay. Okay, now I see what you're talking about because even the West Ham game might not be that easy for them. Yeah, they might get by with Forest. Yeah, but Newcastle and they could play away to Newcastle to they play at
They're
home
away
to
to
City.
Liverpool and they're away to Newcastle, and that's
It's
why
a
those two
tough one,
fixtures for
bro.
me, I think is going to be very tough on them.
No, but that's tough, bro. That's tough. That honestly, that's tough. I can't really say much. That's tough. If they come off with 12 or 12, well, that was that 16 point 12 point right there. If they come up with 12 points, then they should be they truly would like they should be in third position if I'm
They
not
would be in
mistaken.
probably in second, bro, if they come away with 12 points, bro. Because if we look at the table, right? And when we say they come away with 12 points, that would mean they would beat Liverpool, they would beat Arsenal, and
Yeah,
they would beat City, right?
yeah.
So if we add 12 points to Tottenham, Tottenham would be on 65 points.
Oh my days. Like it's gonna be tough, like because we at United we still have but we gotta take it one game at a time because you never can tell what will happen, what might
Exactly.
happen.
I mean, we're taking it one game at a time. Let me just look at the Villa right before we get in and focus in the conversation on United. Let's just take a last look at the Villa one. Look at Villa, right? Villa next few games. Villa is at away to West Ham, at home to Wolves, away to City, at home to Brentford, away to Arsenal, at home to Bournemouth, at home to Chelsea, and away to Brighton. Now, the sticky part in this segment here for me is the West Ham, the City, the Arsenal, and the Brighton game. Those are the 4 games for me where I look at it. They will have Europa Conference League in between those match weeks, and I feel like it might not be looking too good for them, bro. Because
Don't take away the Brentford one. The Brentford one is a banana skin kind of game.
we have Brentford. We might be playing a replay of Brentford soon. So, it's one of those things where I'm not really, that's why I'm not really commenting on the Brentford game because I really don't know how Brentford going to go about their games. In my opinion, it's hard to judge Brentford this season. They haven't really played too well in some games, and in some games, they've shocked people, shocked me with their performances. So, it's one of those things where I feel like, Brentford is like a toss of a coin. You don't know which Brentford going to show up today. You just have to wait on the day and see how they perform. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. I get you.
So, but I was just observing the fact that it have 4 critical games, right? And the running for me is like, okay, think about it like this: they're playing Man City, then they go into Brentford, then they're playing Arsenal. If they drop points in those 3 games, that's 9 points dropped, right? And let me just observe the Manchester City, the Manchester United situation now, because Manchester United, our running looks a lot different, guys, and it's kind of weird actually that it actually looks like this. Look at this running, guys. Right, we play Liverpool. Is our next Premier League game is at Brentford, right? And then we are away to Chelsea. Then we have Liverpool at home. We are away to Bournemouth. We are at home to Newcastle, and then we are at home to Burnley. Our banana skin game, we have 3 of them in that mix there.
Three, right?
Liverpool,
Good thing you said three, man.
yeah, Liverpool, Newcastle, and Chelsea. I not mixing no bones. Now Brentford for me is a game that United should win. We should do well against Brentford, but it's not 100% given. Football is not given. So I'm not going to say we'll definitely win that game. I have that game up as a game where on the day we need to perform. You know, the Bournemouth game, I expect Man United to come back and show their pride and defeat Bournemouth handsomely and let them know, listen, that 3-0 was having a bad day that day. It's not like that at United. I expect United to dispatch Burnley to complete, the roundup of 10 home and away victories this season over teams. So, it's really just the Newcastle game that I feel like it's going to be tough, depending on how their team is looking based on players coming back from injury as well as our performance. Maybe we can scrape a win there. So let's say, let me say we pick up 3 points against Bournemouth, 3 points against Burnley, even 3 points against Sheffield. That's 12 points added to what we have right now. That takes us all the way up to 69. Believe.
Yo, man.
No, 59
Newcastle
points
game,
because we're on
right?
47.
I feel like Newcastle are gonna end up in Conference League on the Conference League setting. So that Newcastle game, we'd have to win it because it's 2 home games, right? So at that point, the players would know what's at stake, and I just hope for their sake they just. People tend to say the manager this, the manager that. Players are actually playing for their jobs as well. So at that point, they should be able to know what's at stake. And I just hope we're at the point where we know that, okay, win that game, win the Newcastle game, and top 4, whatever, top 3, top 4 is secured.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe go into the Bournemouth game with an extra bit of confidence to just see out the campaign and just, reset, go, everybody take a break and come back for the new 25 or 27%, as people like to call it.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things, bro. Well, the performances, is one of those things we have to see, improve. We want to see a little bit more consistency and, make no mistake, bro. Like, we have a running in and of ourselves that if we don't, show up on each day, we could be in trouble. And I'm saying that against Brentford, Chelsea, Liverpool, even Bournemouth. You know what I mean? For me, the easiest of the 6 games that we have until the end of April is really the Brentford, Burnley, and the Bournemouth game. Like, the other 3 games are difficult games for us, really. You know what I mean? Now, I expect us to beat Chelsea because we beat them already this season, and I expect us to pay back Newcastle for the loss that we faced against them, because it's one of those things where I feel like the players have to have some courage about themselves and demand, retribution themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah. My mic was on off. Yeah.
So I looking forward to those games more in particularly because for me those are the games where I would consider like the revenge match. The match where we had to come back and do it and show them, well, listen, yeah, you all had us in the first game, but this time is United. You know what I mean? So I looking forward to the performance to see what they can do. I back in the squad because at the end of the day, from my perspective, I feel like it's one of those things, guys. We could only go up from where we are right now, and the performances haven't been terrible. I see Craig is popping in. Hey, Craig, what's up, bro?
Hey guys, all right. Hey Mark, hi Drex. How are we doing, guys? Okay.
Yeah,
Hi,
we
Craig.
good.
How are you doing? How you doing?
Yeah, very well. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, we can hear
Yeah,
you
we can
fine.
hear you.
Cool. Good. Oh, good to hear you guys. Yeah. Good. And thanks for having me, Mark. Yeah.
No problem.
Good to be
Anytime,
here.
bro.
Yeah, that's a crazy list of fixtures, isn't it? It just goes to show it's not far off, is it? The end of the season. I mean, wow.
100%.
Like that. Wow. So yeah, we've just got to treat every game like a cup final, and I think Ten Hag keeps reiterating that, doesn't he? In every press conference,
Mm-hmm.
We've just got to just treat literally every game like a cup final. But I'm looking at that list, Mark, and you're right. There's a couple of bogeys there, isn't there? And I mean, shit. They're big games, aren't they? Big games.
Yeah, there are some big games.
So yeah, let's just hope. I remain faithful. We've just got to be positive. I know it's hard at the minute with everything that's going on. The negative news. everything that's going on around the club. We've just got to stay confident, man. We can do it, you know. Sorry, mate. Oh, did I? Sorry. Let me try something, mate. One sec. Is that any better?
Yeah, this is better. Yeah, this is
Is
better.
that better? Sorry,
Yeah,
guys. I like the AirPods in, you know, so they waste the space.
Happens sometimes, my bro. Are you there? Drex, you there?
Yes, I am. I'm just
Ah.
battling with this one right here now.
Oh, okay. Tesh, what are you saying, bro? Like, what's going on with your views on the run-ins that we were talking about just now there? Because as you know, man, as I'm saying, it's going to be it have some bogey teams in the running, but
Hmm?
it's still something where we could at least possibly come out with at least 20 I'd say 21 to possibly 24 points at best.
Yeah, honestly, like I think we can, right? My main concern is the boys, but like I think you mentioned initially, we have players coming back from injuries, and I think that will probably overshadow where we have players that want to play as opposed to players that want to down tools. And again, like Drake also mentioned, some players are playing for their careers, though. Some already have and some already know they won't be sold regardless of how they play. So we're banking on the players that probably are fighting for their careers to do us a favor during that period. But I believe we should be able to get the point you just called out though. I think that it's a possibility based on not I won't say quality, but based on players that are coming back to from injury.
Well, yeah. Drex, what are your thoughts, bro?
Jackson, I think you're on mute.
I said I stepped out 2 seconds. What was the thing?
Okay.
Oh, I was just saying that, what do you think about the possibility that, we could get top four, based
It's
on the fact
it's
that with the running that we have, it might have a few bogey runs in the situation, but at the end of the day, we might still do well because, as it stands, it's possible that we could probably garner between, let me say, on a good side, 21 points, on the great side, maybe 24 out of the possible 30.
it's doable, right? It's doable. If you look at that list, right, on a good day, we could actually get the result of the list. We could actually get what should we call it? We've got 6-7 games left to play. We could actually get, yeah, if we look at it, maximum point. But the game against, I think we still got the Gunners to play. We still got those
Liverpool.
games that, say again, Tish.
So we still have Liverpool, right?
Yeah, we still have Liverpool. So those get the Liverpools. As long as we don't lose any game out of the list, as long as we don't lose a game off this list, and we win about 80% of the games left in that, and we should be fine because I still see the likes of Villa getting maybe they're in a rough patch now at the moment, right? So I still see Villa getting some losses as well, maybe three. That's 9 points, like you call it right there, Mark. You said 9 points less. So if they lose 9 points, get can we get an advantage? Can we take advantage of the fact that okay, they lost 9 points? Even if we don't get a maximum 9, can we at least close the gap by let's say 7 or 6? Right? So
Yeah.
6 or 7 puts us in a position where we say, okay, if I feel like if we go into a match day, let's say match day 31 or 32, and we are at the same points with Villa, forget about it. We'll top Villa. We'll go ahead both Villa
Yeah.
because we would have caught Villa. The pressure would be on them to want to, you know, so we will definitely finish above them. If we on, let's say match day, like I said, 31 or 32, we're on the same point, we'll definitely finish above them, right? So it's for United to take. So I don't want to focus on what's happening in my neighbor's garden. I want to focus on mine. So it's for United to see their game. I think it was Craig that said it earlier. United to see their game as a cup final, each game as a cup final, and that you have to deliver, not just in attendance. You'd have to go and deliver, go and win that game, not just go and just participate and say, okay, it was like a cup final, so what we get. No, try as much as it's for yourself, for the fans, for the manager, for the club. Try as much as possible to give your all for these games that are coming. The games against Liverpool, the games against Arsenal, right? You never can tell. We might be the one that's actually dictating the league table at the end of the day. Yeah. So because we've got Arsenal. So if we say, okay, let's say for example, Arsenal needs to beat United to clinch it, and United go there and say, you know what, you're not using us to get that score. You understand? We're gonna defeat you. Keep it for the last game, right? When you go to the final game of the season, do whatever you want to do on that day. But for us, so it's in a quote and unquote, it's in our hand. I would just want to say that it's because with City. Okay, City went through us. They won. Now Liverpool is coming. Do we have a stake in that? Do we have a say in that in the title race? If we hold on to Liverpool or we beat Liverpool, that's putting a dent on their title race as well. If when time Arsenal come to us and we get a result from Arsenal, that's like saying, you know what, we've done our bit. If you want to win the league, make sure you do the rest of the business, right? And for the FA Cup, we'd have to make sure that we, like, I can't even overemphasize this statement that says every game should be like a cup final, that you have to deliver, not just participate. You have to deliver.
Let's hear what Manj has to say, Craig, and then we'll go to you right after, right? Manj, big up, my bro. What's going on with you? How are you doing, bro?
Big up, man. I haven't been listening to the conversation too much because I just got home myself. But what are you man saying?
Oh well, you know, I'll go to Craig, and then so that way you'll get an idea, because we're basically talking about the running, the month of April.
Mhm.
You know, everybody have 4 to 5 games in the month of April. We was looking at the running with Manchester United. You know, I'll bring it back up to the screen so that way you could probably get a little visual of it. This is Manchester United's running in the month of April. You know, as you know, we face Brentford, Chelsea, Liverpool, Bournemouth, Newcastle, and Burnley, right? And in comparison, you know, Tottenham faces Arsenal, they face Man City, they face Liverpool and Brighton, all in 4 match weeks back to back. Same thing for Aston Villa. So we were looking at the fact that, you know, let's just say United for some reason was to win the next 2 or 3 games, even the game against Liverpool, then it's very possible that we will be almost on even points going into the end of month of April, where they will be facing their toughest part of the season, facing the top 3.
I understand. Yeah, I understand.
Greg, what are you saying, bro?
So, guys, sorry, Mark, for the technical difficulties, mate. Yeah, you're right. Drex, you're spot on as well, mate, from what you say. But I just think we just need to be in control of our own destiny a little bit more. You know, we just need to ignore what's going on around us, concentrate on our own games. Like you say, even, you know, going to Arsenal, you know, they're in a title charge. You know, they're going to have to come at us. You know, they're going to have to play at us. And even if we can just get anything out of these games, that's something. And not worry what other teams around us are doing. Really, they've all got their own pressures. And I truly believe even with Villa, you know, that the pressure is going to be on Emery now. You know, I mean, he's been brought into Villa, I think, to give Villa a little bit more of a European heritage back again. They're so far in the Conference League now. They're just one tie from beating Ajax. And they're going to be favourites to win that. And Emery, as we know, he always likes to win a European competition.
100%.
And that's going to be a fallback for them. I'm not sure, guys. What does winning the Conference League get? Is it just entry into the Europa? Yeah.
Europa Cup, yeah.
So that's a ticket for them. That's guaranteed. But you just know for sure with the you know, that they don't have the biggest squad. they're just going to get run into the ground because Emery will demand. He is a European manager. He likes to win European competitions, and so they've got that pressure as well, and obviously the pressure to maintain their position in the league. But one's going to have to give, and so yeah, we've just got to manage our own destiny, really. We've got players coming back. Literally things can only get better on the player front for us. We've got Hoyland coming back. Hopefully Martinez. We'll have a proper left back. And it's crazy, isn't it? When you look at it, shit, we're just operating without people in their proper positions. But yeah, Erik ten Hag is under massive pressure, and we know that. The knives are out, but he just needs to do what he can. So yeah, and those players need to perform. They need to perform. So
Yeah, big up. And Manj. Sorry, Craig, what are you saying?
No, that was me. I'm done, man. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Well, I kind of agree with mostly what you're saying, because at the end of the day, I am one of the fans that always think that Manchester United should just focus on what we're doing. We're in a rebuild after all this season, and we need to focus on what's going on with that. And it don't make any sense for us to be stressing about what other people do it, because we have our own stresses, just like they do. And the season might not have been great, but we are in a situation where we know we build in something. We was in that situation last season, and I think that we overachieved last season. A lot of people have the opinion that maybe the manager should have done what he did this season and should have done that last season. But at the same time, for me, it's like, okay, but the reality is he didn't. So he doing it this season. Maybe this is the circumstances that he had under the previous ownership that he was being ran under, and now he's just doing what he could because this is the situation at hand, and he making the best out of it. Now, it hasn't been great, and of course, as a United fan, you want to see better. You want to see more style, a more defined style of play. You want to see more consistency, and certainly want to see more goals. But it's one of those things where we're in a season where the team injury ridden, and we're not performing all that great, but we're still keeping up. And if we could finish strongly and finish top 4, it might sound like it papering over the cracks, but at the end of the day, Manchester United need to finish in the top of the table. And if we finish top 4, it gives us a chance to fix the problems we have over the summer. You know what I mean, Manj?
God, I can't wait for the international break. Jesus. For me, I'll be honest with you guys. Yeah, I've actually given up on the season now. Truth be told, because what it is, I see us winning games, but I see us dropping silly points when people less expect us to, and I believe it's too late now. So what's the gap now? About 8 points from Villa.
Yeah, 8 points.
And I think that's a bit too much. I think we left a bit too late, to be honest with you. I think for me, if it's all about winning the FA Cup and finishing as strong as possible, but I don't think even that guarantees that the manager stays. I'm not even talking about the manager in this conversation, but I think it's a bit too late now.
I mean, the performances, they could have been better, but like, could we really be like, okay? I mean, for me, I would also like to reach the FA Cup final, to be fair, but at the same time, I would sacrifice the cup to get top 4, because at the end of the day, you're still qualifying for the FA Cup next season, and if we have European Champions League, it gives us a bit of more spending power and a bit of more leeway with the FFP, and I feel like.
True.
You know what? Is the manager's second season, and if last season he finished third with two cup finals and he won a cup, and this season we finished 4th, I feel like it's fine. I mean, at the end of the day, I look at the team and I see a squad of players where it have a few players in the squad that I don't really think, even with a better manager, they would fit a style of play for expansive possession play. I feel like we really need to go into the transfer market and get some players out of the club and get some players into the club. The only thing I don't believe is that we're going to get rid of 8, 9, 10 players in this summer window. I think that's totally going to be not the case. I think we might probably see 4 or 5, maybe 6 players leave the club, and probably see 4 players come in. Because if you look at it, we have 4 or 5 youngsters out on loan. Now, a lot of people might think they're going to be sold, but if you look at the positions where they're coming in from, 2 of them are midfielders, 2 of them are defenders. One is a winger, one is a striker. Who's to say that they don't become the backup for the squad and we maybe purchase a striker, 2 midfielders, and 2 defenders in the window?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's step-by-step progress. And at the end of the day, yes, we are Manchester United. But in my honest opinion, like, even though we are Manchester United, we haven't really been that Manchester United. Because over the last decade, we haven't spent well. We didn't make the best appointments. We haven't, gotten rid of players who really should have been sold or transferred out of the club seasons ago. So we need to operate like professionals, and if we're going to operate like professionals under this new ownership, first and foremost, we got to take it step by step. I think going gung ho and like how Chelsea do it, clear everything out in one season, that's kind of tough. Because if you look at Chelsea, they're in 11th place. And what can we say? We could say Pochettino is not a good manager. I think the reason why they're in 11th place is because he's a good manager. Big up to you, Shay. How you doing, my bro? Drex, I'm pretty sure you could come back in when you're ready, bro. So like I just look at it from the perspective where, is a trial and error situation, and right now we in this situation where it's gonna take some time, but
Yeah.
we will get there. It's just about a little patience.
Yeah. Can you hear me, Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, completely agree, Mark. And just getting back to what you were saying there about certain players that we've got in our team at the moment, they're not guaranteed first starters really for me. Yeah, sure, it's great we've got players like Garnacho, Hoyland, but these are players really, in all honesty, they should be players that are brought, squad players that are nurtured into the team. They're young players. They should be drip fed into the team rather than just, completely relied upon.
Yeah, 100%.
Garnacho, yeah, he had a fantastic game the other day. Probably one of the best performances. I agree with you, Mark, that he's had. Real grown performance from the guy, and he won us the game. He was very clever with making those runs to get the penalties. But these people should not be relied upon really. And you feel for Hoyland. You've got 21 years. What is he? 21.
21.
Crazy. The amount of pressure on that young man's shoulders is. I mean, credit to him. What I mean, the mentality that young kid must have. But we should be having more senior players, definitely, and he should be working under them. He should be somebody that is being brought off the bench.
Agreed.
To learn. But it's great that we've got these players, hopefully in the future, to do that. But you're right. We need to bring in more options, definitely. And it's going to take time, isn't it, mate, to get rid. I think some people under grand delusions that it's going to just take one transfer window to get all these players out, but it's going to take time, and we're still going to need players, a squad, aren't we? So it's it's going to take time, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a tough one, man, Craig. And I mean, I know Drex gonna come in on that, but I would like to hear what Tesh have to say about that time factor, because looking at it prospectively, like I think Sir Jim making some crucial appointments. Like I might not like Dan Ashwood, but at the end of the day, it's better than what we already have. It's definitely an upgrade, and these guys are gonna come in to spend what money we have available and use the resources as wisely as they could possibly do it, and then create more resources from sales and whatnot. But unless it was like Qatar, I don't think we was going to spend like 500, 600 million this summer. So for me, a major clear out is kind of a bit hard to swallow it. I have to see it to believe it. Tesh, what are you saying?
You're talking about doing a major and clear.
Yeah.
I think I'll agree with everyone does in because it's difficult because you have to keep a bit of let me not say identity, but a bit of you have to do it bit by bit. If you do it drastically, you probably have a bit of you'll suffer. Like if you're using Chelsea as an example, doing the max what they call changes they're doing, so it's difficult for them to build a team where as in to build a unit at once. So like you said, gradual change will be is better as opposed to having a huge change. Now I'll probably expect them to make like based on the style of play we plan or identify or want to play, we start buying players that suits that style, and we start phasing players out that don't, right? That don't, right? So gradual, or probably it's also including youth team players that suit the style we want to play. I reckon for sure we'll get a striker next season. So which to me, I think United have always had like 2 or 3 strikers. Now we have just one, a striker, right? So and again, we also have some people leaving, which I think I understand if anyone knows. Varane, Casemiro, they are likely all to leave. So probably you might want to start bringing in a CDM or a ball carrying what they call midfielder. Now you start what they call embedding into the team. So again, a gradual change will be better as opposed to a whole lot of changes. Mark, I think you're on mute.
Yeah, you're on mute, Mark.
My bad, guys. My bad. Just looking at it from this perspective, I was just thinking in the terms of, I know Jim mentioned in his statement that, they're going to look at the style of play and these things, but, and from the way I see it, the style of play was already determined when the club decided to tell Ollie they want to play a more expansive attacking style. I think when they brought in Erik ten Hag, it was to solidify that they wanted to play the attacking style with somebody who is experienced in coaching the attacking style. I feel like the next step is providing the profile of players to suit the style, which would make it make sense, because currently we don't have a squad. I wouldn't say half of the squad suit our attacking style of play, expansive possession-based football. I would say that the majority of the squad suit a counter-attacking style of football. Maybe the acquisitions that Ten Hag brought in suit that style that he wants, and maybe there are 1 or 2 players who was in the starting 11 who also suit that style of play. But at the same time, I feel like you also have to take into consideration that a lot of the players that we had at the club, they were training for a different style of play before Erik ten Hag came in. So it's one of those things where they didn't have the time, and people might say they had 18 months of training, but 18 months after having 2 or 3 seasons of training for counter-attacking football is 2 different things. And you will still have the issue where you might be doing something, you might resort to doing something that is not for this style of play, but it's for the style of play we was learning all the time before. And I just look at it like, from the perspective that we possibly just going to bring in profiles, I think is the most, how to say it, probable step forward that will keep us on the trajectory of moving forward with progress. I don't know how Drex is seeing things, but I just look at it like, if we let the manager finish his 3rd season, it gives us a chance to bring stability to the squad, change more players, bring in more players who suit the expansive style of play, because at the end of the day, even if we were to get rid of Ten Hag, the majority of options that we see on the list all are similar style managers. Maybe they have different perspectives on it, but similar styles.
Yeah, no. If I can jump in, Mark. Yeah, completely. I mean, you look at managers like De Zerbi. There is no chance that he's going to play his style of football with this team. It's just impossible. He plays expansive football to the point where it's sometimes at the detriment. I don't know if you saw the game against Roma this week, and he said in his post-match interview, he said, I live by the way that I play. And sure, there's some fans out there who would rather see Ten Hag play the style of play for the sake of results. And I that doesn't sit with me. This is a results-based business. We have to, sure, on the other argument, you can say, well, there's certain games where he hasn't been playing his style and we haven't got the results, but we have to stay in games, and I fear that is what Ten Hag is having to do now in order to in order for us to finish this season on a high and to get where we want to be. The reality is we're just not there. We don't have these players to play this expansive football, as you say. You look at players like Harry Maguire. Sure, he won the league with Leicester, but you can't teach these players. Firstly, he's not got the pace. But this is a guy all his life. He's been playing a low block. Every team he's been at. It's just not what he's able to do. And even players like Rashford, they've been under multiple managers taught or to learn the counter attack style of football. That's what he's a kick and run footballer, isn't he? He's never going to be that possession based footballer. It's just not in him. So, but you're right, mate. I think just 3 or 4 players, who are able to play that next season in and around the team will completely change our style of football and allow Ten Hag to play his style. But I agree with you guys. For me, we have to let Ten Hag finish out his vision. I always said from the start, I'm going to give this guy 3 years, no matter what. Because we've been through the cycle too many times. And even this week, the Ollie interview hit, and I'm still, it just hit home so much. The message of what we've been, and just as a reminder, everything that Ollie had been through at that time, but just where we're at as a club. We're 18 months, 2 years in to the process. Ten Hag has done so much for me. He's got a lot of dead wood. We are at a crux in this club's history, really, in terms of its ownership and where we want to get to as a club. Do we want to do this thing where we're kicking out managers every 18 months, 2 seasons? We're finally getting a structure in place. Let this guy just go ahead with it now. He's got the people behind him. Let's support him. That's where I'm at. So I'm seeing the long term, rather than the short term. We've got to see the long term here. So yeah.
Drex, what are you saying, bro?
1 second. Yo, for me, you gotta give him time, bro, because at least I've always said this, right? People tend to say, "Oh, false positivity." Bro, it's not about false positivity. It's more like this man. We know what this man can do, or we saw what this man can do under a team with structure. Fine, the Eredivisie say it's Ajax in the Dutch league, and yeah, but we shouldn't play a blinder to the fact that we actually saw what he did in the Champions League with the set Ajax team, right, against the likes of Real Madrid and Dortmund. And I felt like even the time he played Tottenham, right, it was in that semi-final, he was a little bit naive as to a few things, right, which he actually worked on himself. He has actually grown, matured, experience has actually taught him. So I feel like, yeah, time. Give him time. We've been talking about structure. I will tell you how bad it is now, right? I'm feeling like I know most people will not agree. Even Ole, under his structure, maybe would have done more than what he did. Maybe under his structure would have done more than what he did. So I'm saying, yes, the manager that we most fans were crying for, right? We know what he can do. We have an idea of what he can do if he has the right people behind him. One of the reasons why people tend to say, Ten Hag has power about the transfer window and all of that is because I feel like he doesn't really trust the system, right? And trust is both ways. You trust me, I trust you. But so far, the board, the way they even set up his first season, how he wanted them to get Martinez, Timber, and Anthony in time, and De Jong. I felt like if the club had moved swiftly in getting, at least securing Timber or Anthony earlier in the transfer window, that would have even instilled some sort of confidence in the manager for the team, for the backrooms, the structure, quote unquote. But that didn't happen. They dragged everything, and it was all panic setting. You saw how we got Casemiro, what we ended up overpaying for Anthony. We went all the way to Spain, didn't get De Jong went to Turin or whatever they call it, didn't get Rabiot. So the man is looking at them like, this is all chaotic, man. This is all chaotic right here.
Crazy. Yeah.
You understand? So now that he's going to be getting some sort of structure, I don't see a problem. I don't think he would have a problem with in which they'll tell him, okay, your veto power or your power would have been diminished to like what, maybe 80 to like 20, 25%. I don't think he would have a problem with it, because at Ajax, his main purpose was to just do his job on the training ground, right? Give his list to the people for in terms of recruitment personnel that he wants, and the scouting network and the recruitment, they come together and say, okay, we don't have X, but we have Y that could actually match X attribute. What do you say? And these are people, when you have people doing that, you know, okay, these are people that know their stuff. Not when they come to you, we can't find this person, but we have this person. By the time you're looking at this person, the attribute you're looking for, it's not in there, but they're just trying to shove it down your throat and be like, yo, this is what the club has been looking out for. So no. So my take, give the manager the time. Now, if by December, which is now the general transfer window is going to open, but in January, if by December he hasn't lived up to the expectation in terms of what you guys have agreed to in the summer, right? Now, let's say you agree to the fact that, okay, by December we should be XYZ position. We should be playing more attractive football. Let's say maybe reduce the losses to like what, let's say 4 losses in the first half, which is like this of the season, and the man has kept up to that, he's met all of that, then okay, further down the line we go. But if he's not living up to that, then you can as well take any decision you want to take. But for me, giving him time with structure, right? I would even go as far as making it even a little bit far-fetched, like giving him 2 or 3 transfer window before you actually do anything, because you're not going to sell every player in this window. Neither are you going to sell most. You're going to do that in the next summer window or January transfer. So it's more like give him 2 summer transfers and let's see what he can do. That's how I see it.
My counter to that, Drex, is that I hear what you're saying about giving him next season, whatever. But say if he messes up, goes through a troubled time, whatever, isn't that delaying the inevitable though? Isn't that
that's why I said I was gonna go far first when I said give him 2 transfer window. But my original take is give him, goes into the last year of his contract. By December, because by December you would know, right? By December you would have seen if there's any progress at all whatsoever. So by December you know that if there's a progress, if he has met all the, if he hasn't ticked all the boxes, maybe he has gone away over like 70%, then you say, okay, you know what, we just need to tweak a little bit of this and that in the January transfer window if the opportunity arises, and see how the later end of the season would go, right? Because you have to factor in every variable. That's what I'm saying. If it doesn't live up to that expectation by December, then you know that the inevitable is going to happen. But I was just saying, for me to make it a little bit crazy, go far-fetched, give him 2 summer transfer, right?
Yeah,
because
if
you're seeing what he's doing, then you might want to say, okay, you know what, let's support this guy one more step, you know? That's what that's all I'm saying, man. I'm not really saying go gung-ho with him or just, kick him out. No. I'm just saying the man, Ten Hag knows what he wants to do. The Troller group, go ahead, Craig.
Drex, I was just going to say, mate, I completely agree, but how I see it is no matter who we bring in, whichever manager is here at the moment, we are all every one of those managers going to be in the same boat as Ten Hag. They're going to be sitting in a boat that's waiting for structure to come above them. So, we can have a system in place where we say, look, we want this player, and then it's identified, that those targets are then identified before it's even discussed, So for me, no one man is going to come in and save it while we're sat in this sort of no man's land. It's either we move in this direction as a club with structure, or we, as I like to say, we just keep pissing in the wind. And it feels like that.
Good expression, that.
It just feels like we're pissing in the wind.
Because even the next manager, you're going to give him 2-3 summer transfer to actually kick on, to actually make you see some managers would come in. Like, I don't think so any manager, except even if Pep comes in, Pep is going to say he wants about 5 players off
Exactly.
and 5
Yeah.
players in.
Yeah. I mean,
Are we as fans comfortable that this what we have is going to make that happen for us?
yeah, and this idea, Drex, that, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, even Ten Hag, Pep, they'll have ideas of players that they want. But, you know, Pep has a team of staff around him where he says, I want this kind of player. And, you know, straight into that conversation, there's targets there set, you know, this player here, we've got this option, you know. And, you know, I hear a lot of people saying about Ten Hag's talent ID. Again, you know, he's come from Ajax. He's never had to walk into a club where, you know, they're saying, okay, who should we bring in? You know, and you know these things are set out in structure. You know, you've got people around you. You're having a conversation about talent ID. Obviously, he brought in players from Ajax because they understand his system. People like Anthony, you know, Leach, who were brought in. Jurien Timber was and that's typical for managers who go to a club. You know, I think of Fergie when he came from Aberdeen, he brought Gordon Strachan in. You know, you think back to Moisey, you brought Fellaini in. But you know, like typically, this is what managers do. They bring players in who understand them and just to have a presence in. And it's not Ten Hag's fault that Anthony costs so much. You know, that's down to the like you said, Drex, the stupidity of the people who sit at the top of our club who pissed around for a summer. You know, chasing players and so you know, yeah. There we go. So let's just give the man a little bit of structure and see where it takes us. But you know, I'm like you, Drex. You know, I'm not saying here we stand by him no matter what. I just want to see. I just want to see what he can do with some structure. You know, because yeah, sure. You know, he's brought in Højlund. He's brought in Casemiro. Okay, whatever you think about that. You know, Leacher. There has been some positives to transfers. You know.
Garnacho.
Yeah, Menu, you know, and you look at the youth team, Mark, as well. You know, they're doing bits at the moment. You know, they're doing. There's a lot of good players that
4-1 this weekend. They win.
Yeah,
and they're winning by big margins. I mean, the under-21's not doing so well, Craig. Not to cut here, bro. But
is that right? The under-21s, yeah, I think it's
yeah,
the
under-21s, they're doing kind of okay. They won a few games, they lost a few games. They having the hardest time out of the bunch of the
don't the under-21s have Tom Huddleston playing in?
Yeah.
You know, the under-21s is always seen as the old reserves. I think, mate. I think you're allowed like up to 3 players. Yeah. Any age you want. It's typically like the old reserve system. The under-18s really is what will signify, you know, our youth, you know, our proper youth system. And look out for a player next year, by the way, guy called Ethan Williams, absolutely quality winger. Yeah, watch out for that guy. He's definitely going to be in and around the squad, hopefully next season. So. Yeah,
I actually like him,
guys.
But
let me just. I would have to beg you guys that I have to take my leave now. I have to.
No worries, bro. Have a good one.
Big
Thanks
up,
for
Craig.
coming in. Big up to
big
you,
up, Manj. Big up, Tess.
Big up, Drex.
I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take it easy, okay, guys?
Yeah, take care, mate.
You know, Tash, I was about to talk about, you know, Ethan Wheatley, to be fair, not to mention that you mentioned Ethan Williams, but I'm pretty fancy in Ethan Wheatley. You know, he plays off the wing as well. He plays at striker, and I think this young man has a lot of talent in front of goal. He has a great read of the game, and he has a great decision-making process. You know, I think, like Drex and you were saying, I do back the manager, right? But I'm not backing him blindly. Like, I have seen a few things that tell me, like, listen, if we had a few more players that fit more the similar profiles, like a Martinez replacement who could have come on, the guy didn't even have to be as good as Martinez, but just be left-footed and good on the ball. And, you know, it would have kept the style of play. We'd have seen the same break, the line passes and stuff like that, you know? I feel like if we had a next player in the midfield who could come in for Casemiro, that he might not have the experience, but have a little bit more mobility, but a similar style. You know, it improves us. It will keep us going. And when we have the full team available, we have seen where we could perform with the best. and compete, we created more than 15 chances a game, and we score an average of 4 goals a game when we had the first team fit in the first few games of January.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was the same thing in October, because in both months we were team of the month in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, if I see in this, the only thing I could say, well, look, maybe let's give this guy one more season with a structure. And I know a lot of people have fears about his talent ID and the veto that he says to have. But at the end of the day, if you listen to the conversation, other than the word veto, he was saying he sits down with John Murtaugh as well as Joel Glazer, and they discuss the players they're bringing in. And then the other two guys, it's either, he could have a veto and say, well, this player specifically, but the other two, they also decide. And if they say, well, look, we can't afford this player, this is what we have option and available, then this is what he has to deal with. And problems for me is that these guys are not great football minds. They don't look at it from a football perspective. So we would never be getting the players that are best for football. We'd always getting the players that look like they're worth more money, in terms of what they could sell. And this is the problem, and I feel like we solving this problem getting the likes of Omar Barada in, because when he has like guys around him who knows what they're doing in world football, similar to the structure that he had at Ajax, I think he would be feeling a whole heap more comfortable in the players that they're going to provide him, because he know they will bring players that fit his system and his profile. So it won't be a situation where he will have to come and say, well, look, I really want to get Julian Timber for CDM, but you're looking to bring me, Conor Gallagher. You know what I mean? So
the way I see it, Mark, like for me, this is now the culmination of 10 years now of mismanagement. This is how I'm seeing this time period now.
Me too.
We've tried every different kind of manager. We've been there, we've been reactive, trying to buy success rather than planning for success, and this is, for me, it's short-term pain for long-term gain now. We've got to see this process of structure out for me. And just give, like I say, I'm not saying give Ten Hag all the time in the world, but I've always said from the start, I'm going to give this guy three seasons. If it hurts, it hurts, but we've got to get. Hopefully, it will cross. We'll cross a bridge, and we'll get there for the better. Really,
I mean,
crossing the Rubicon. That's what I was thinking of.
Probably crossing the Rubicon.
You
I just looking at it like this, Craig. You know what? We don't really have much stability right now.
Yeah.
And with the structure coming in, the one thing that we need is stability. And even if Eric Ten Hag is not that great manager to take us to the promised land, what he could do is set the club up for the next manager to take it a step further. And it costs us nothing. You know what I mean?
And that's where all the great clubs, you look at clubs like Bayern, everyone it's crazy that we're even speaking about it, Mark, because we should have been that club for the last 10 years. But the reality is we haven't been, the structure's there, the manager's not performing, they go out the door, and the next manager who comes in, they come in, we've got the shop floor set up, it's ready. This is what we are, this is what we do. There's too much emphasis on a manager changing and doing it. That's not the way of modern football. It's not the way it is, Yeah, sure, you get your managers like Pep and Klopp, these guys come along once in a generation, it seems, but we've got to start putting the work in behind, really, to allow managers for them to become the managers they want to be, because we're just asking too much. It's too much of one person.
100%. Manj, sorry, Craig. I just wanted to get Manj's final take, because I'm not sure if he might have too much time. I don't want to. I know he's a busy guy. Manj, what are you saying, bro?
The way I see it, yeah, all talk, no action. Get your talking into action, So let's see what happens in the next over the summer, next season, couple of seasons. But I'll be honest with you, I don't think anything's going to change personally. I think it's a little bit of PR for my thing. I don't drink the Kool-Aid. Apologies for the people that do. I'm just saying, I gotta put it out there. I gotta be real. But at the end of the day, let's see what happens, man. I gotta go anyway. But big up to you, Mark.
Big
Craig,
up to you, bro. Thanks
first
for
time
coming in.
talking to you.
Big up to you.
And Tesh, see you later, man. And everyone in the chat, big up. I'm out. See you later. Have a good
Catch you later,
week
my
as well.
bro. See you tomorrow. Hope you have a good one.
Take care, buddies.
Tash, what you saying, my G? You know, there's the last round here. We in the knockout round here. It's you, it's Craig, and it's me. And we here. We going on. There's the last statements here, right? And
Okay.
I know you're listening to me and Craig and them for the longest while. I know you have your points, but you know, we all seen it from different perspective. I'd like to hear what you have to say, you know, in terms of what would you do or what would you hope for, you know, and what do you think might be the best solution?
In terms of United
Mm-hmm.
and changing the manager, like I think you know, right? At the point I was critical of Eric Ten Hag, right? But then when you dip it, when you probably start looking at the different pieces impacting that can impact how his performance, right? You start to say, okay, you know what? It's why there's a piece where you see, okay, not one of us, not
But
one.
us chickens.
Yeah.
When you start to dip it, you start to see, right, why you think Eric Ten Hag, there's too much going against him. I think Drex mentioned, I think also Craig mentioned this recently. He did excellently well at IS, and not just in the Dutch league. He did excellently well also in the Champions League. So to tell me, there is a manager there. And Sajim Ratcliffe also said this. He said in the past 11 years, we've had several managers, and they've somehow all failed. And these are basically good managers. So to me, that statement means that there's something else wrong with the club. I've always mentioned culture of the club, how the culture of the club is not right. So going back to your question, I'll keep Eric Ten Hag for one more season. I'll keep Eric Ten Hag like we stated initially. You make changes gradually in terms of bringing key players to key positions that suit and help his style of play. And I think the fans also have to be aware. It's not a quick fix. It won't happen even next season. It will probably a gradual change, right? Then you're phasing gradually of the players that don't fit and bringing in players players that fit. And I honestly believe, and this is not me just saying because for being positive though, I actually believe Eric Ten Hag can take us back to glory, but only if he has the right tools and right personnel to do the job.
I feel like my toxic positivity rubbing off on you strongly, bro. You're sounding like me there, bro.
No, honestly, if you speak to Drex, right, when Eric Ten Hag came first, right, I was very angry when we lost the first two games, and not for Eric Ten Hag. I was angry at the players because I was very sad when Ole went. Not that Ole was the greatest coach, right, but how they threw him under the bus. Not
Man.
but also Ragnick. Right, so to me, some of these players need to go. And I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of Rashford. I feel it's a huge problem. But if he does well, he does well. But I feel like if he does well consistently, he will do well. But he's not consistent. And I think we'll probably have to make tough decisions on certain players in order to move there.
Did you see the Ollie interview?
Yes.
Did you see that, mate? Yeah. You know, it was
Bro.
heartbreaking. You know, the moment when he said, I walked into and asked the players who wants to play for me, you know, and literally players deciding who wanted to play.
Yes.
Just like we have to remind ourselves, this is the culture that Eric Ten Hag has walked into and has had to try and change. You know, it's an ongoing process, isn't it? You know, like you say, a lot of those players who he's mentioning are still at the club. You know, I'm under no illusions that Eric Ten Hag is going to take us to the promised land, but it might be that Erik ten Hag has to be the sacrificial lamb. He's coming in to bring the change, set up the structure, and like Mark says, it sets a structure there for future managers to come in. But we just need to, I don't know, we have too much of a reactive fan base, and it's a little bit toxic for me at the moment. It's really fucking toxic, yeah. So it's it's crazy, you know.
I fear if Erik ten Hag goes, I
Yeah.
fear they bring in a new manager like the talking of Deserby, Potter, and the rest. I fear probably we might struggle for the next 5 to 6 years. Honestly.
You only know, guys. That is what I fear as my nightmare, you know, bro. Like, and you be bringing a new manager like a De Zerbi or a Potter or like we say a Xabi Alonso self, and then we just struggle for 4 years.
Yeah,
struggle
they
because you know
mentioned
what,
Gareth Southgate, Mark.
bro.
You know?
I'm not even gonna speak that into existence. You see, that word not leaving my lips because here I'm telling you, Craig, I have a Manchester tattoo. I am about to finish my sleeve. And if that guy is signed, I have to remove my Manchester tattoo. Bro. I swear, I stop watch football. I done watch football on that day, Craig. I'm telling you, bro, I'm finished with football because that would be a disgrace, bro, to the memory of Manchester United, bro. Like you see them guys in the background behind the picture that I have up. You know, if I take down myself, you'll see those guys as a disgrace to those guys, bro.
Disgrace, yeah.
You know what I mean? This guy is one guy for me wasting the talent of England away for the last nearly a decade. England have some of the best footballers assembled, and they don't do anything under this guy. And I think that's a reflection of his capability as a manager. You know, I feel like a lot of managers out here selling dreams more than they're selling this good football. And Erik ten Hag, for me, walked into a situation that no manager walking into and walking out of triumphant in 2 seasons. You're walking into a situation where a club under rot for a decade, you know, they have no structure. They have nobody who footballing intelligent in the executive department. And you're supposed to win at the top level. That is impossible. You know what I mean? The mere facts that you could see they're sending young players out on loan, returning loanees when we have injuries, and we had the chief of medical department was hired in November. That's all I want to say about that. November. And that is how bad it is for Manchester United.
It's crazy, isn't it? Just to think that we haven't had that in place for
before Ten Hag came.
Before Ten Hag, it's just like, you know, and even, you know, you look at, you know, I just watching the derby, Mark. You know, you see Pep's bench. He must have 15 guys there, all part of his crew. You know, on the bench there with him. Ten Hag was allowed to bring 2 members of staff in from Ajax. Just like what, you know, it's madness. Yeah, what this guy has had to do. So yeah, it's crazy, and just that list that we saw, I think last week, Mark, we published everything all the dramas that had been on, everything that Ten Hag has had to deal with. You know, I mean, even Ronaldo. It seems a lifetime ago, doesn't it? The Ronaldo issue, you know, that seems a lifetime ago, but there we go. I'm sure it seems a lifetime ago to Ten Hag.
It does. You know, Tesh, I know you got to run, my buddy. Thank you for joining me. Big up to you. First time on my panel for the Sunday night show. And I hope to see you here on Tuesday, same time, 10 p.m. If you have time, come through, bro. I will send you the link. Have a good night, my bro. Thanks for joining us.
Big up, Craig. Big up, man.
See you, Tesh. Take care, mate.
Craig, as you were saying, bro, it seems like it was a long time and lots of things, a long list of situations that I feel like many managers would look at in the Premier League and be like, wow, thank God we didn't have to deal with any one of those things, far less to have to deal with the bulk of the lot. Because it's a difficult thing to manage when you're dealing with, you know, circumstances like accusation of a player, then another player getting accused of something similar, then another player downing tools and throwing his toys out the pram, another player in a situation for drinking and whatnot, partying hard. Then the takeover saga. It's been pretty crazy.
It's been crazy, hasn't it, mate? Yeah, when when you read out the full charge list that Ten Hag has had to deal with, it's wow. You know, and just to you know, to maintain his composure in all that time, and obviously as well, the other thing is that people forget is to keep these people happy. These footballers, you know, that they all want their egos massaging at the same
Facts.
time, you know, and so it's a real. I know people accuse him of being a little bit robotic sometimes, but this is, you know, he can say things and mean another. I know that with Ten Hag. Just because he says something, that's the you know that's the nature of being a manager sometimes, and people forget that is that he's publicly saying one thing doesn't mean it's what it's gospel to him. You know, he's saying things to keep a group of you know
Spoiled babies happy,
multi-millionaire
bro.
spoiled
Say the
babies
truth.
happy
Spoiled
completely,
babies.
and that's exactly Mark. Yeah, so he's doing what he can to yeah, and I think he's got one eye on the end of the season. You know, definitely, he just wants to get hopefully over the finishing line, get to where we want to be, and you know address the wider issues in the summer transfer window. Get some personnel in, you know, get the structure in. But yeah, it's a lot. I feel for the guy, and he visibly looks tired at the moment. You know, you
Yeah,
can
he
see
does. He
this.
does.
He's, but you know, credit to him, and I do feel for him. So yeah, it's very nuanced, isn't it, Mark? It's not so black and white, really. You
At
know,
all. At all. At
it's very
all.
complex, and like I say, I just keep telling myself short-term pain for long-term gain. You know,
I
it's
telling myself that every day. Telling him.
yeah. But yeah, hopefully we'll get there, you know. And but so yeah, I'm just looking at each fixture, taking each game by game. I'm not even looking at the other teams. You know, they can do what they like. We just got to concentrate on getting the results and doing it ourselves, really. Um,
100.
yeah, you know, you can't rely on other teams and say, you know, yeah, they'll drop points. Yeah, sure. You know, I'm sure we'll drop some points as we do against some teams. We might even get a few victories where we don't expect us to get the victories. So you
Yeah,
know, with
that's it.
players coming back as well. So let's hope, man. I'm keeping positive.
I mean,
If you don't laugh, you cry.
exactly, and that's the whole thing for me. You know, if you don't laugh, you cry, and
Yeah,
and you know what? I just feel like, you know, when you look at the perspective list of what's happening with Manchester United as a fan, how, you know, this manager, right? And when I look at it, sometimes he's be talking in press conferences, and I listening to what he's saying, and you know, from the first season till now, his press conference talk shift. He
yeah,
was more honest in the first
yeah,
season and
yeah,
manager, and I think a lot of the fans love that. And this
yeah,
season they're having a hard time connecting with him because they find he not honest. But you
yeah,
want to know
yeah.
something, Craig? When he was honest, this player kicker first, this player kicker first, this player
Hey,
stopped playing for the club, this
true.
one went on
Yeah,
strike. So why be honest
yeah.
for
If
these
you
guys
feel
to put
stuck,
you under the bus again? You know what I
exactly,
mean?
exactly.
Just smooth them over.
Yeah,
Maybe no. This is how I feel. I feel like he just saying, you know what, fans, you could see everything.
yeah,
Dave Brailford in the game every week, he could see everything. So I just go and keep it moving,
yeah.
right? And these guys will get the due diligence at the end of the season.
Yeah, and I think sometimes, Mark, as well, it doesn't matter what he says. The journalists, I feel, have never liked him from day one. You know, it's in their business as well. You know, United when they're not doing when there's drama at United, you know, it sells clicks for them. Let's be honest. You know, and our fan base needs to remember this. There's a lot of stories that are invented, you know, for the sake of clicks. But you know, the journalists as well, just the questions that they come out with, I just think they haven't got a clue, half of them. You know, but they're there to you know, create stories, and sometimes something that just doesn't exist in my eyes. But it's so yeah, he's got everything. I feel for the guy. You know, the knives are out. The fan base is split. The media is pushing this narrative at the moment. You know, and I don't believe it. You know, don't believe the hype. You know, it's sure the owners haven't come out and said that, you know, we're supporting it, but why would they? Why would they do that? You know,
Why do they even need to, Craig?
why do they? Yeah, you know, we've got games to play. Sure, he might go at the end. You know, if they decide he's going, do you know what? That's fine.
We
They've made
can't
that.
do anything because they are the
You know,
owners. You know
but
what I mean? What's important for me is that whatever they decide to do, they do it.
yeah,
End of it. If he
yeah,
stays, he stays. If he goes, he
he
goes.
goes exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
And you know
yeah,
what? For me, it would never be a talking point for me because just from perspectively how I think, whether Sir Jim Ratcliffe say he go and back Ten Hag or he don't, managers and owners have done the same or different in the past and then
yeah,
done the opposite. You
yeah.
know, because look, Todd Bowley back in Tuchel, the next week he fired.
He fired. Yeah, yeah. True, true. And you know, sometimes as well, you know, they know that Ten Hag's got a job to do. The last thing they want to do, they want to keep him on his toes. Ultimately, like, you know,
As well,
the new
as they
owners coming
should.
in, they say, "Oh, yeah, you know, you're here next season, no matter what." Doesn't mean that they're supporting him. That they've had conversation behind closed doors. You know, it's
Exactly.
so it's Don't read anything too much into it. You know, the media will create this shitstorm about the fact that they haven't come out and openly supported him. But yeah, take that however you want to see it. Really, for me, it's yeah. Like I say, it's week by week for me, Mark.
Week by week for me
You
as
know,
well.
it's Coronation Street, Manchester United. You know, we're so. You know, we're so drama. There's always something around the corner, mate, isn't there?
100%. And that's the one thing I just waiting to see what's next. You know, because
Yeah,
we
yeah,
went from quiet and the stadium,
yeah,
this that top four possible to a list of managers possibly replacing Ten Hag. So with this
yeah,
victory, I'm waiting to see what happened this week. I mean, we're facing Liverpool, so maybe they might be saying,
yeah.
this could be the end.
Oh yeah, they'll be creating that, won't they? They'll be creating. They've got the storylines already typed up. They've got the headlines already typed up. You know, they're ready to go with it. These journalists have got kids to feed. You know, they've been, you know, for the past year with the news of the takeover, it's generated a lot of money for these journalists. You know, the news of
100%.
Manchester, they have to maintain it. You know, they don't want
100%.
Manchester United in this. You know, in Nirvana. There's nothing. There's no stories to sell. So it's yeah, you just got to keep a level head. You know, I'm used to this.
Me too, Craig. You know what? Because I mean, I work in the event industry and stuff, so I accustomed dealing with a lot of fast-paced situations that has happened. Some things will be beyond your control, and it's
Yeah,
usually have to tend to react to some things a lot of the time. So
yeah, yeah,
it's always have it's possible that they're not going to have the show. The show could be postponed or it could be delayed. It's always the same thing. But at the end of the day,
yeah,
you had to do your bit and leave the rest that you can't control up to
yeah.
just
Exactly.
that.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say thank you, bro, for coming in tonight. It was a
No
great pleasure
pleasure.
having you on. I would like to
It's
see
been a
you
pleasure, Mark. Yeah, I
whenever
would
you have
definitely.
time, bro. You
No,
just let
do you
me
know?
know.
No,
I will drop the link.
thank you.
If you want, send me the email in the Telegram chat so I could send you an invite link, and that way,
I would do.
whenever I'm live, you could just pop into the studio and I will just bring you up on screen, so you don't have to worry
That'd be
about it.
great.
Right?
Thank you very much, Mark. Nice. Thank you for having me, and I will definitely be on future shows if you'll have me, mate. Definitely.
Yeah, all the time, bro. Big up, big up. Thanks
All
for
right.
coming in. It was a pleasure discussing with you, my bro.
Yeah.
It's always good to have
Good.
a panel to discuss with. Sometimes live it is be cool, but
Yeah.
it's always feel like you want to ask someone questions and bounce questions off of someone. So it's good that you came in. I like the way you have your views. It might sound similar to my views, but they have a slightly different perspective at the same time, and that's
No,
always good.
Yeah, and Mark. Ultimately, I'm a realist. That's the way I've been. You know, the answer, like we say, it's not black and white. These things are that we have to open your eyes to these things, and sometimes people are quick to just sort of put the flag in one. I'm this or I'm that. And the reality sits in between, doesn't it? With these things. So yeah. it's good to chat about it. Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks for having me. Okay.
Oh, big up, welcome, and I hope to see you back. You know, as you know, Tuesdays and Thursdays I have the panel shows as well as on Sundays. So anyone is always at 10. I just had it at 10:30 tonight because I made a mistake with the time scheduling, but normally it's at 10 p.m. But you could always come in, or I would be always welcoming to have you. Always good to hear your views, my bro. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. And, you know, thank everyone for coming in tonight and paying attention. I know a lot of people, I know there are a few people watching on X, but there's a few people watching in the France. Thank you for Lou and France for coming earlier. Big up to you, GB. Big up to D-Hub Sports coming in. And big up to everyone else, you know, big up. So thank you guys for coming. It's been a great show. I got Craig Warby on my show for the first time. It was really fun for me. Big up to Drex, and as well as Tesh coming in for the first time. And, you know, Manj always drop by. The rest of the guys, Abs end to end. He's probably going to be here on Tuesday with Connor and the rest of the guys. And hopefully Craig will be back.
Yeah,
big up to everyone. It's been your boy, MarkN MUFC fan, with the Manchester United views. Match day reaction as we win 2-0 against Everton. This week, we will have the match preview on Thursday as we face FA Cup competition with Liverpool at home at Old Trafford. I wish I could have been to that game, bro. I'm not sure if I'm going to make it, but I'm trying to get my tickets to get there.
Okay.
Hope you guys have a great one. Big up to you again, Craig. I'll see you tomorrow, certainly. Don't forget to send me the email in the Telegram chat, my bro.
Definitely.
And I'll see you tomorrow, bro. Thanks you for coming in. Guys, it's been cheers to you, bro. And it's been fun. It's been enjoyable talking with these guys. Usually this show is an hour, Craig. It's been an hour and 41 minutes. So that means it was really nice. And in Trinity time, we only talk nicely with those that we like. So you definitely know you're one of my favorites. Guys, have a good night. Big up to all of you joining me. Hope you had a great time. Hope you enjoyed your weekend. Manchester United won against Everton. And it's not so bad. I'm just going to bring this up to the screen so you guys can see the next run of fixtures for Manchester United. Just take a quick gander. It's not such a difficult list, but there's some tricky fixtures in between. We faced Liverpool twice in 15 days, but you know what? It's Manchester United, guys. We were built for this stuff, and we need to move on. And the game is going to be tough, just like the road is sometimes, but you know what? It's the way we have to trot things. One game at a time. Every cup is a cup final, as my buddy Craig Warby has been saying, and I think we might just get over the line. Let's see how the team does. Support your manager. Back this squad. It's all we have until the summer. Let's go. Manchester United, Reds, let's take it home.